Right, so now that we have the data coming through, we just need to render it out onto the page, like this one over here. So at the top, we have the back button, the Pokemon card, which we've already created, and then the Pokemon stats over here. So let's go ahead and do that. So in VS Code now, what I'm going to first of all do is get access to the Pokemon data. So we need to destructure the data and get access to it. So I'm just going to say const Pokemon is equal to data.allPokemon.nodes. And in this case, because we're filtering it out based on the name, we will get access to the first index because there will only be one index. So that's the Pokemon that we are fetching the data from. And now what I want to do is render the back button, which I've already created the styles for, and I'll bring that in. And I also want to render the Pokemon card, which is what we have already created earlier on for the grid on the homepage. And I'm going to pass in the prop of Pokemon equal to this Pokemon here. So now what I need to do is import Pokemon card and also close this off. And then we also need to import the styles for the back button. So I will do that in a moment. But also what we want to do is render out the text for the stats. So let's add that in as well, just underneath. So essentially we have a text container styles component, and then we have the Pokemon types, which is essentially coming from the Pokemon. So Pokemon types is equal to Pokemon.types, and then because there's more than one on some items on types, we just want to join it with a comma and a space, and then the last one, it won't add it to that one anyway. So that is the Pokemon types. We have the attack. So again, we're accessing the stats.attack, stats.special attack, HP, and special defense. So these are these stats over here, and these are numbers. So essentially now that is all rendered on the page. We just need to implement the style for the back button and the text container. So let's go ahead and do that. And what I want to do is create a new styles page for the individual Pokemon. So this will be the Pokemon styles page, or you could call this individual Pokemon styles.ts. And in here, I'm just going to paste in what I have. Essentially, it's a div on the text container, just centralizing everything, and then also adding the color for the strong tags that we have on the left hand side for the stats. And then the back button, what we essentially are doing, this is a link. So with style components, what you can do is you can do the attrs append here, and essentially this is adding attributes to our link. And in our case, we want to link back to the homepage here. And then we also have the styles for the back button as well. So all we need to do now is import them in. And now if I save all, and then if we hover over Pokemon card, in this case, it says property index is missing on type Pokemon. So essentially, Pokemon card receives props. So in this case, what we need is the index to be optional because we're not mapping over anything. We essentially are just rendering out the one Pokemon card in here. So now you can see Fearow is being rendered along with its Pokemon stats in here. We are separating the types of Pokemons and rendering that out onto the page. There is one issue, which is this here, which we don't want to show in our final build because this will be undefined because we're not passing in an index as a prop. So let's go back and let's test some more out. So let's test Blastoise. Again, that one's working correctly. And we also want to test another one that we haven't tested. So let's go ahead and test Stormy. So let's see that one again. That's working and the index is still showing as NAN. So all we need to do is go into the Pokemon card component and we need to handle this here. And the way to handle this is quite simple, is if index is not equal to undefined and that is true, then we want to render index +1, otherwise we want to render null. And now if I save and go into here, we now have Stormy and it's not showing the NAN, and then the same for the other ones, and as you can see in the grid it is showing, so Charizard is not showing as well. So that is the project complete. What we have done is use Gatsby to build this Pokédex. We have a header that is being rendered. We have pre-built static pages that we have created based on fetching data coming from the Gatsby source Poke API. We also have implemented search functionality. So you can see now we can filter the Pokemon type. And if it's bug, it's not going to show Ghastly. It will only show when we have the ghost type. If we set the Pokemon type as the default and also remove this, we have all of the Pokemon being rendered. We can click through to individual Pokemon on here so that we can render and showcase further stats for the Pokemon. And we also have a Gatsby blog using MDX files. We fetch all of the blog data using the Gatsby graphical queries, and then what we can also do is click through and render out the individual Gatsby markdown files. Anyway, so I hope you learned a lot from this video and this crash course on Gatsby. What I would recommend is for you to build your own project in Gatsby and share it with me and let me know if this crash course helped you a lot in using Gatsby for the first time. I would also research the Gatsby plugin marketplace because there's a lot of cool integrations that you can have. If you want to see me do more Gatsby videos, then please comment in the video below. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.